Very excited to talk to you today and very excited for this film. I was just kind of laughing because, I think you were getting kind of complacent in the streets, being an officer in nice clothes. And someone said, we got to get him dirty. I'm going to strike back him and dirty him up one more time. So what's it like for someone to come up to you and go, no, you're too clean. You got to get dirty again. I mean,
Yeah.
Is it kind of call back to those strike back days, which weren't that long ago, actually?
Yeah, it really was. And MJ and I have always had that relationship where her biggest thing is she just wants to break me. Every film that we do or every set that we're on, it's like, can we get more blood and more mud and more ice and anything uncomfortable on Phillip? That would make me happy. And so we tried to do that as much as possible on road.
Well, and if you look right here too, I mean, yeah, they make sure you but I mean,
Look at that.
Where were you shooting? Because you looked pretty much always damp and almost always humid, no matter where you were. So where is this all shot at?
So this was in a game reserve outside of Johannesburg, South Africa. And yeah, like the beauty of these kind of roles is the makeup department kind of do their thing in the morning or in the evening, as it were, because they were night shoots, and they leave you alone and they just let you sweat and they let you sweat it off and they let you get, they let you just get pounded. I mean, look at that. Isn't that, I mean, we had our makeup gal was Theola Boyens, and she's an amazing makeup artist, and all those huge scratches and scars and stuff like that. It was an hour and a half prosthetics in the morning, and then it was about 20 minutes to take it off after we wrapped every night. But they just did an amazing job.
So as an actor who has fought man and now beast, do you have a different way of how you attack, I guess, the objective now when it comes to this kind of world? I mean, is there a way you look? I mean, of course, you're looking a little more down than you would up, but outside of that, was there anything different about the way, your tactics kind of came into play?
Well, a lot of this stuff was CGI lion, right? So there was that world in which we were sneaking around, and then there's a guy with two red glowing lights just sneaking around behind you and kind of doing that. And you're going, this kid's supposed to be fucking lying. I'm supposed to be afraid. Okay, remember that. But just, I mean, look, just good times. I mean, this South African cast and the South African crew, they're such hardworking folks out there, and they just get it. They just jump right in. And so I felt like I was doing a little bit of, catching up. I mean, I haven't been back on, Strike Back was a long time ago now. But I love it, and I love that type of filming, and I love that type of work. So to jump back into that with a crew and a cast that understood it and wanted it was so refreshing to me. I was really hungry for that style of filmmaking again.
And speaking to cast and crew, I mean, I was surprised how much Megan jumped into it as well.
100%.
100% for being out there. Everyone, of course, they seen her with the Transformers shots that come around, the Michael Bay slow, make sure you get all the lines in the body kind of thing. And now it's like, no, she's in charge, and it's all about, accomplishing the mission. So what was it like when you guys got your first scene together? What was that about for you?
We had this truck chase through the bush, and I mean, just dust everywhere and squibs going off all over the side of the Jeep. Everyone's reloading mags and firing stuff, and people are getting hot brass down their webbing and screaming and hollering. It was great. And at the end of that take, no one had really spoke to each other yet, because at the end of the day, there's always this thing, right? It was still Megan Fox. Like we were in the back of a truck. There's like 6 of us in the back of a truck, and there's Megan Fox in the front, right behind. I could reach out and touch her. And it was so surreal to be like, that's fucking Megan Fox, man. She's such a badass. Like, and I remember, like, dude, I was doing theater. I was working for the Royal Shakespeare Company, and we were at a theater in Singapore when Transformers came out. And I remember sitting in that cinema just being blown away at that movie and being like, who's this? Who's Megan Fox? Wow, okay. And she rocked up, and she brought it. I mean, a friend of mine in LA actually trained her, did some weapons handling training with her. And just to come into that world without having done it before and to jump in with both feet like she did is a testament to who she is as an actress and as a woman. I mean, and it's hard work. You get your ass kicked every day on an MJ Bassett film. And so, yeah, it's hard work.
Well, and then you come in, I mean, with Strike Back at your back and some other stuff. I mean, you are kind of the old shoe when it comes to this kind of like fast moving, action too. So was there some of the looking to you kind of thing too when it came to going to a veteran of how the feel is, or did he kind of bring his own idea automatically, which kind of threw you off too?
Yeah, there was a little bit of kind of, it happens really quick, right, Derek? Like, one day you're the young new lead on a show, and then the next day there's a bunch of young pups going, oh, you did that series and you did that series, and you realize it's a compliment, but it's also, you're the old dude now. So the next role after this movie is the dad, right? And then it's like you start, and then I'm saying, you shall not pass in the next movie. I mean, it just happens so fast.
Well, you know what? They're going to need to remake Cocoon. So if you're available, we'll just go directly to that.
Right. I feel like I'm an analog soldier in a digital world is what I feel like right now.
That's okay, because as we've seen in this crazy world, analog still works, and you're still moving forward, and that's all.
Still moving forward, right? Amen.
Yeah. It's funny because I actually, before I even knew about this film, I had actually interviewed Jessica Sutton. Before.
She's amazing.
Oh yeah, she was in South Africa already too, of course, and so she was just telling me I'm gonna look tired and crazy and like dirty and like messed up the whole time. So enjoy that. And I'm like, all right, we'll look forward to that. So right. It was kind of interesting to see how that worked too. So well, I guess one of the fun things about this film is the fact that you have so many different things coming at you at the same time. It's not right. Like anything stops or slows down at all. I mean, is that something you enjoy when it comes to this type of film, or do you like to to give a stop down and give yourself to find more about each character really in depth too, or do you enjoy just the fun ride kind of feel?
It's a little bit of both for me. I enjoy smart action. That was one of the things that lent itself to Strike Back. Was on one hand, it was a bunch of guys running around shooting guns, but on another hand, it had a real message to tell about PTSD and about the process of being a soldier and the cost of being a soldier, as well as a husband or a father, those kind of things. And with Rogue, there was similar elements. I mean, on the surface, yeah, it's a team of operators who go in and get their asses handed to them, and some of them don't make it out and some of them do. But, you've got this really strong female lead with Megan Fox. You've got another strong female lead with Jessica Sutton. And then, of course, the Lion, who comes out and kicks some ass of her own. And there's this comment on what we're doing with nature, and this comment on, how we treat the world and how we treat the natural world in particular. And so that's something that's really important to MJ and important to Izzy when they wrote it. And that was something that we worked with each other as a cast to try and bring that stuff out as well. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of levity in it, man. It's it's an action thriller, but there's some undertones as well.
And being on a set out there, where you think about the idea of being on the Serengeti with lions and all these things, like, do you ever feel safe? I mean, if you could be on a set of Law and Order and feel like I'm good here, 2 blocks, a block there is a Starbucks, over here is this.
That's right.
That. But when you get out there, you're like, there's just questions everywhere. Do you kind of feel that way when you're on a set that can open out and you just see the land and all the things that could hurt you or want to eat you?
Oh, 100%. And this was 4 weeks of night shoots. And so we're out in the bush in the middle of South Africa, and we were probably an hour and a half from Joburg. So we're in the bush, and the sun would set, and this cacophony of noise, the jackals and the beetles and the things that were flying through the air that were this big, that were missing your face by an inch. I mean, it was real jungle and real bush, and it was great. And it lent itself to the flavor of that. I mean, we were on a reserve that actually did have lions, and some of them are in the movie. And they have this sort of earthly guttural thing that they do at night when they talk to each other. And it would, we were probably a mile away from them where they were holding them. And it still resonated deep within you. And there was something primal about it, that when you heard these lions go, your buddy just was like, that is respect. Like, these animals, you're not winning, right? These animals win. That's just the way it goes, right?
Well, yeah, my manliness is tested every time something crawls up my leg when I'm at a picnic. So I think
right.
I'm already having my issues like I said, a block from the Starbucks. So
Yeah.
I don't know where my manliness kicks in exactly versus my manic.
It's just
my
got to be
manic
tested.
kicks in.
That's it.
Yeah. I'm gonna test that out, but I think I'm gonna wait till like I'm a little bit older and I've got a lot of things done, just in case
Fair enough.
I happen to make some mistakes along the way. So, so just to kind of encapsulate this, when people first, you told them you were doing this film and they were asking you to kind of give them an idea of it before you even got on the set. What did you tell them about Rogue, and how did you explain what the story was to them?
Well, when I read the script for the first time, I walked away with essentially, it's a survival story, right? I mean, this is Megan Fox leading an elite team of hired guns and gunfighters and operators into a mission that goes horribly wrong because it's the movie. Something's got to go bad, right? And in order for that to happen, in order for them to get out, they got to work together as a team. Slowly, one by one, they're getting picked off by several different bad guys at the same time. But so I walked away with it thinking this is just going to be fun to make. And then you kind of leave it out there because when you're in this position, like you and I are having a chat because the film is done, and that stuff's so out of my control that it's such a gift when you go, hey, let's talk about the movie. And you're like, oh, it's out. All right, let's go. Nobody dropped the ball. Everything went together as it should. And that's cool. Cause man, let me tell you, I've been on the movies where that doesn't happen. So this is a treat, it's a treat to talk about it. And it's a treat to, hear people's views on it once they've seen it too.
One last question, you're talking about that creation, that process too. Was that ever an interest to you, direction or producing or anything like that? I know you have a lot of acting roles, but is there any point where you thought, you know what, I know action, I know stunt people, I know these people together, and ABC equals D. I mean, was there ever a thought for you?
Yeah, certainly it is. And it's actually something that's come together now. I mean, in the midst of COVID, in the midst of this, there's been just this desert of non-creativity, right? And you felt it. We all feel it. Like we do this because if we're lucky enough, it pays the bills, but it also does something deeper in us as creatives, whether it's acting or editing or producing or, whatever it is, it's a part of a creative endeavor that you enjoy, right? So I've got some friends here in Bozeman, Montana, and we're looking to make a Western here as soon as we can. It's a great script off of a great adaptation of a novel. And I mean, we're trying to do it for $5 and a sandwich kind of a thing. So we're going to get some horses together and some buddies and go try and make a Western. And I think it's going to be one of those things where everyone chips in. It's a cooperative. There'll be actors, directors, whatevers, and people will be doing their own stunts and pulling favors. And that stuff really interests me because those things only get made with that community vibe. You know what I mean? And so that's what I dig about it, man.
And I'm a huge fan of Westerns. As Brando said, every actor should play a Western once to kind of connect with the idea of the American dream, to kind of feel that connection too. So being on a horse with a lasso and a gun on your hip, I mean, there's got to be nothing like it. So I don't have that feeling. Now, I doubt I ever will. I've been on a horse, but that's as close as that's come. And because I was also not very, I guess, graceful at it. But there's definitely something that comes with it. Yeah. Maybe that's what I'll do my later years. I'll have myself a ranch and I'll turn myself into a real
South
cowboy.
Africa, and that'll be the thing.
No, not South Africa. I don't think I'm that adventurous. I feel like I'm more like a Bozeman, Montana kind of guy.
Fair enough, Derek.
Yeah, I could still get down to the Publix or one of the grocery stores and
get my meat. Yeah, that's right.
When I failed to kill whatever I was chasing, I could still find meals and prepared stuff along the way. So we'll see how that works out. But anyways, I want to say, Rogue was a lot of fun. And I think everyone who watches it is going to enjoy it. There's a lot of suspense. There's a lot of out of your seat kind of like, oh no, what's going to happen? Where's this going to come from? So I think that's something that everyone kind of needs, because we kind of need to be a little more, open to the fact that even though it's on our TV or it's in a theater where you have like 10 people right now because it's still opening and people are afraid, you still have these ideas of being part of the experience. And I think that's what films like this do. They give you that opportunity. And it's something that I think we've missed, and hopefully everyone will get a chance to enjoy this. So I want to thank you very much for talking with me today. And I hope it was as fun to make as it was to watch. And more importantly, I I hope you still remember some good times being outdoors, shooting things, versus being indoors and doing whatever hobby you have now. I don't know. Everyone's taking a hobby, so I don't know how that's working out too. So,
yeah, right. Well,
yeah,
that's very kind of you, Derek. I appreciate that, man. And it was a kick in the pants, and I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I hope other people do too.
For sure. Well, thank you very much. I hope you have a fantastic day.
Right on, bro. And hey, thanks for all this awesome artwork, man. This little lion's been watching me the whole time, kind of freaking.
Oh, that little lion, yeah.
It'll right there. It'll get
you.
there.
Yeah, you can name it if you want. That's fun. That's